Good morning, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Coffee with Cory. I'm your host, Cory Smith, here to discuss, just a wild 3 days for NC State athletics. NC State current and former athletes in action this coming up weekend. We'll talk about Philip Rivers here in just a second, facing off with Drake Thomas, actually, of Seattle. So we'll see. Obviously, Philip Rivers has to start that game in order for that to actually take place, but we'll talk about that here in just a second. But I want to get some coffee first of all. I also want to point out, if you're watching this on YouTube, you are watching this on our new YouTube channel. We're switching over to this channel in the coming weeks so that we can start a transition over to it. Look, it's a thing behind the scenes. CBS Sports taking things over, and so we'll be transitioning over to a new YouTube channel. So hopefully everybody will go over there, like it. We had over 5,000 subscribers on the previous one, so I hope we'll get nearly as many, if not more, here in the next few months as we ramp up into really important women's basketball, men's basketball, and obviously a football game here in just a little actually exactly a week away now at this point. So I hope everybody will jump on there and start following us there so you can get pregame, postgame, everything leading up to those two, and all the Coffee with Corys that we do every Monday through Friday. I know we've been a little off this week. I've missed a couple, so I apologize for that. Some things going on. Again, family related, but also work related that have kept me from doing those on a daily basis this week. But we will get back to those next week. And we'll also have a special one tomorrow leading up to the Kansas game. Plan is to have Brian Geisinger on to talk, preview that game a little bit. Obviously a big game, so we want to do as much as we can. We'll also talk with Will Wade here in just over an hour, so I've actually got to bolt soon. But I wanted to jump on here, discuss a wild weekend for NC State. Multiple events. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 things that NC State fans need to watch for this weekend. There's probably more than I'm missing, so I'm sure people will let me know in the comments. But number one here, the College Cup tonight. NC State in their men's soccer in their first College Cup since the 1990 season. So it's been quite literally 35 years, almost as long as I've been alive, that they haven't gotten back to the College Cup. So this is a momentous occasion for NC State. Again, it's been 35 years since they've done it. They'll face a St. Louis team that has not been since 1997. I've talked about it a couple times this week, but this is, for both teams, both programs, a huge moment for both of them. And it's really about who's going to live up to those expectations once you get into the game. NC State fans have a chance to create a great atmosphere. I believe the first match kicks off at 5 o'clock. The second match, NC State will kick off at 8:30, somewhere around that area. So depending on how long the first match actually goes, but it will be in Cary. Tickets for both matches less than $50. I know it's going to be freezing cold. It's not going to be great conditions, but should be a really nice game for NC State. Nice match. I don't want to offend people by saying the wrong term there, but I want to also give my guy Aaron Disher, who's been covering them all year long. I want to give him a shout out too. He has a story on NC State's defense, along with Logan Erb and what they've been able to put together this entire season. Been one of the best defensive teams in the country, set a program record for the most shutouts in a single season. So it's just been a remarkable story. We know what Donovan Phillip gives you. Obviously, Tate Healy's been playing really well recently, but this team's defense is really the big story here for NC State going into this weekend, potentially tonight and maybe Monday. We'll see ultimately what it holds for NC State, but a big match against St. Louis. Wrestling also right beforehand. So if you're at the stadium, wrestling will actually be at Ohio State tonight, the number 2 team in the country when it comes to wrestling. So a big match for NC State in that one. 5 top 10 matchups in that one. So again, this is a really big moment for NC State. They've been able to win a couple ranked matches already early on in the season, but this is a chance for them to really, put yourself on the map and maybe, establish yourself as a top 5 team going into ACC play here in just a little over a month for NC State. So again, really big moment for them to try to prove themselves and several guys to kind of compete and say, all right, are we ready to compete for a national championship, not only as a team but individually too. Several guys in that match, including Isaac Trumbull at the very end for NC State, to try to establish themselves not only as a great team. We already know that top 10 team in the country, and obviously several top 10 wrestlers too. I believe there's 6 right now for NC State if you look at different ranking systems inside the top 10. So again, a great chance for several of the established guys, but also younger wrestlers to be able to kind of prove themselves in this match. We know, I think most people know by this point, NC State men's basketball will face Kansas tomorrow as well. 5:30 tip inside the Lenovo Center. It's sold out. It's a stripe out game. It's something that NC State has been looking forward to for quite a while. This game's been on the books for a little over a year now at this point, but it is one that NC State fans have been looking forward to. It's been sold out for a while. It is the last true quad one opportunity for NC State before you get to conference play. So if you're trying to establish a resume, you're trying to really put that together. Obviously, a quad one loss is never a bad one, but a quad one win is one that can get you, over the hump. They're kind of looked at as, right now, obviously, we don't take a whole lot of stock when it comes to March Madness, projections right now, or bubble projections, but NC State currently right now, last 4 buys, if you're looking at it. So they're, one of the 8 teams in, but they're, kind of not really on the cut line yet or on the bubble truly. But you lose this game and it puts you into a precarious position. It puts you into a tough spot. So that's a really big one for NC State, and a great opportunity for, NC State fans to show what they're all about. And NC State as a program to prove, all right, we're still here. This Red Reckoning thing gets back on track, as opposed to, what you saw earlier on in the season where you lose 3 games in 4 straight. So this is a chance for them to really prove themselves. Again, we'll talk about that much more with Brian Geisinger tomorrow on our Coffee with Cory before the game tips off tomorrow night. And then women's basketball, don't want to forget about them. They actually tip off ACC play on Sunday against Miami. That one's not at home. It's down in Coral Gables, but an opportunity for the women's basketball team to get back on track. We've seen, last couple games they've been able to win, but again, you still have a lot of question marks where this team is currently and what they're going to look like once they get to the start of ACC play on Sunday. A Miami team that's in the same position, Miami team that's trying to prove that they're worthy of being in the NCAA tournament. NC State trying to prove that they're still worthy of being one of the top contenders in the ACC, and that all starts on Sunday. They've got to be able to come out firing on the road before you come back home later in the week. But this is a great opportunity for them, for several players like Zoe Brooks, like Zam Jones. Zam Jones has been playing well recently, but still not shooting great from outside. Can she do that? Can Tilda Trieger, Camille Pierre? How healthy is Camille Pierre in this game? Do you have Cadence Samuels in full form in this one? Will you have Adelaide Jernigan if you need her in this game too? So a lot of questions to be answered in that game on Sunday. We'll see. Again, 2 p.m. tip-off, so it's perfect timing for you to watch that full game, be able to take a little bit of break in between, and then watch Old Man Rivers potentially compete, for one of his final games. We don't know exactly what the future holds for him, but 44-year-old just celebrated his birthday earlier this week. Phillip Rivers getting an opportunity. Potentially, it looks like he's in line to start. Obviously Riley Leonard, it's, up to his health and whether or not he's going to be able to be the guy to step in. But just seems like a very, storybook type of thing that we're watching here for Phillip Rivers. They don't go out and sign him and make this big, news cycle about him and all these different things, and have the press conference, have all these different things for 3-4 straight days for him to not start in this game. It's going to be tough. You're going into a great atmosphere. You're going to be facing off of one of the top defenses. I wrote about it earlier this morning when I wrote about Phillip Rivers. The fact that this team is top 10 in several categories, top 5 when it comes to turnovers or interceptions force, when it comes to sacks. They have over 40 sacks on the season, tackles for loss, and scoring defense. So all of those things taken into account, it's going to be a really tough day for whoever's under center for the Colts on Sunday. Just so happens to potentially be Phillip Rivers. Drake Thomas on the other side. I'm sure he's going to be trying to get after Phillip Rivers, someone that he probably watches as a child, and get the opportunity. He's been great this season, 10 tackles for loss for him so far this season. So I wouldn't be surprised to see him try to get in the backfield, get after Phillip Rivers and try to disrupt him. Maybe he'll put him down gently, not not hurt the old man. So, but again, just a remarkable story. We'll see what that holds. Once the game actually kicks off and what Phillip Rivers is able to do, it's going to take a little while for him to get his bearings. But again, against a really tough defense, it's going to be tough. So those are 5 things for you to watch this upcoming weekend. Again, we'll have more in depth on the men's basketball side of things on Saturday. We'll have plenty of coverage of all these different things throughout the weekend. In particular, it'll be soccer tonight, probably not a ton of wrestling. We'll get to wrestling once we get into ACC matches, but coverage of every single other game this upcoming weekend. Thank you to everybody for listening. We will talk to you again soon.